The one thing I would want people to understand about our ministry is we're a kingdom-minded, people-focused ministry. One of the big pushes with Joined at the Hip is our desire to make disciples. Jesus declares in Matthew 28:19 and 20, that's what we've been called to do. Once we've been discipled, we're to go out and make more disciples. I've always believed that if people are really gonna get it and really get an understanding about Jesus, it's gotta be presented to them in their language. Through the email ministry, I think it does give us an opportunity to, in a sense, disciple and just encourage people to just keep at it. The email ministry is an evolution of me forwarding things to different friends. The scripture that comes to mind when I think about just that whole situation is God will use the foolish things to confound the wise, because essentially I was using the internet or email at that time for foolishness, forwarding jokes, oftentimes many of which are ones that I wouldn't repeat. But what happened was, as God started dealing with me more, everything about it changed. We're just of the belief the very thing God delivered us from is the very thing He's going to allow us to go back to. And so we want to make known Jesus. We want to know Him and make Him known. Music was never really given to the world. Music was made to glorify and worship God. Hip-hop is a tool we use to cultivate the heart of individuals in such a way that when the word of God goes forth, when that seed is put out there, it can actually take root. What I think God is doing is with hip-hop is saying, you know what, we can use this to still make good music, to still encourage young people, but to give them something substantial and not something empty. And so for our ministry, hip-hop is the means through which we teach.
See, I'm not afraid to call a spade a spade. The truth of the matter is I want to see him saved. Truth is the only thing that can make the captain free. Then ain't no need in y'all getting upset with me.
Ministry is nothing more than utilizing the gifts God gave you in such a way that it's going to draw people to focus on Him. I am not a rapper. I am a minister. I just happen to use rap as a means to communicate the gospel.
When he was talking, I felt like I was sitting down there. I felt like some just said, get up and go up there. And like, I was looking and like it was nobody. And that was just, I think that was my calling. Like God was telling me, you need to become a Christian.
I'm going to a location tonight to speak, a high school. And in that setting, they don't know me as a minister. They know me as a rapper. Because I can go in there with that hat, so to speak, that will automatically open the door for me to speak into the lives of those young people.
He's calling you to stand out. He's calling you to be different. He's not calling you to look like everybody else. 1 Peter 2:9 says we are to be peculiar. We're supposed to be different. We're supposed to be weird. That's okay. That's okay. That's perfectly okay. Because truthfully, unless they nailing you to a cross, it really ain't that bad. It really ain't that bad.
I can reflect on when I was that 15-year-old, that 18-year-old, that 22-year-old. And in hindsight, the one thing that's consistent for all those years, at least for me, no one ever told me the truth in a way that I understood it.
This huddle, y'all can shake this school up, man. For Christ. I ain't talking about walking through the school, beating folks over the head with the Bible. Oh, you sinner. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about living it. I'm talking about showing love when people do you wrong. I'm talking about respecting that teacher that gets on your last nerve. God can do it through you if you'll let Him. If you'll let Him.
There's nothing special about me other than I have a relationship with Jesus. I never saw myself in this position. Really, for me, rapping was just a hobby. But I think I've heard this once before. You cannot really have a relationship with the Lord and stay the same. And I think that's what happened. The stuff I used to rap about, I couldn't even dream of speaking now because it was so far from God. The person I was when I started the email ministry, I can't recall that person because I'm so far from that. And so now what you see is just a result of who I was before Christ in conjunction with now who God has made me.